Marquis Theater, New York. The lights are dim, dramatic music playing as the audience awaits the magician's arrival with bated breath. With a swirl of smoke from the stage, he appears from within, starting his entrance with a flip followed by bowing down, his right hand holding his top hat, where a flock of white pigeons emerge from, quickly flying across the stadium before finding their way out through the open windows. He's wearing a typical magician costume, albeit with a long cape that extends onto the floor beneath him. He appears to be in his 30s, has short black hair, dark brown eyes, and a clean shave. The audience was left in awe, their eyes darting back and forth between the pigeons as they chased the way out, already pumped and celebrating before the show had even started. He then straightens back up, putting his hat on. Welcome! I'll be your final host for tonight, William Watson, as many of you may know. After our time together, you will come out of those doors with a new sense of perception. Are you ready? He charismatically announced, just as excited as his audience. A chorus of applause fills the area. Then, let us begin, he said after a smirk span across his lips. The show involved a wild variety of seemingly impossible magic tricks, like William teleporting from one place to another, retrieving many things from his top hat, including bunnies, knives, and cards. He also brought people from the audience onto the stage to perform various card tricks. In a moment, he conjured a watermelon out of thin air, then asked a child to pick a card from a deck. He proceeded to shuffle it, showing impressive skills at doing so, then carved a circle in the fruit, where the chosen card lay inside, dry and intact. "Oh, but what a strange coincidence," he sarcastically said as he pulled the card out, leaving the child with an open mouth. The audience was stunned at such a mind-boggling trick. For the show's climax, he began telling a story, incorporating tricks into it as it unfolded. It was about a kind-hearted boy who often got bullied by his rebellious and uncaring classmates. He resisted their indoctrination, however, no matter how much of his goodwill was repaid with the opposite, exploitation and betrayal. In time, good fortune had finally been graced upon him, his actions rewarding him with a streak of good luck, granting him a successful and happy life, while his classmates, on the other hand, faced many struggles and hardships. A short story with a deceptively simple moral to take from, yet its true meaning was still misunderstood by the overwhelming majority present. That is, because it was nothing more than a comforting lie, the one people want to hear. Nonetheless, with the stage gloomy, he explained the moral of the story, it being that the audience should always strive to be good people, as fate will always sort itself out in your favor, no matter how long it takes. Such words came out rough, but he managed. With this, he finishes the show by spreading his arms wide, a burst of air and smoke engulfing the stage, replacing the gloom with a shining light that almost blinded the audience, a strong gust of wind hitting them. And thus marks another great show for the books. As he was making his way home after a long interview by journalists and fans, he came across an old lady, passed out on the ground. There was a man in the distance that glanced at her, but ultimately kept walking, crossing the road without a care in the world. Panicking, he immediately rushed to her aid. Miss, are you okay? Hey, can you hear me?" he shouted lightly as he held her up slightly by the back of her neck. As he was checking her pulse, he couldn't help but look back at the man making his leave, his eyes cold and still, an almost calculating look to them. Fortunately, the lady's eyes began slowly opening. "I blacked out again. I'm okay. Sorry to inconvenience you, young man," she said, confused yet grateful. "You sure? Perhaps I should call an ambulance, no?" he replied, still concerned. No, it's okay. It's okay." Nothing more than a blackout, it was. There is no need, I assure you. Okay, I trust you then, he said as he helped her up. I promise, but thank you for checking in on me. Both of them say their goodbye. He's already chasing after the man from before, walking at a rapid pace in the direction he saw him going. It's like his mind couldn't wait a single second more, erasing his previous interaction as if it never happened. But it did, and he knows what would have happened otherwise had he not intervened. This calls for corrective actions. Despicable, vile, unacceptable. He ought to correct any further probability. It's safer this way. Very quickly he catches up with him as he enters a park, smoking a cigarette, his gaze sinister to say the least. He confronts him in the middle of the park, with no one around. He tapped his shoulder from behind with surprising gentleness. Startled, he turned around, facing William. "What? I'm in a hurry," he said, all the fear flushed out at the sight of such an innocent-looking magician. "Good evening. I have a question for you. If you're dishonest, you get a reward. And if you're honest, you get an even better reward." "Sorry, no time," he said as he turned around, his legs already on the move. "The reward includes cash," William said with a dark smirk. Surprised and intrigued, the man turned around to face him again. Okay, go ahead." William's expression slowly shifted into a dry, disturbing one before opening his mouth again. "Are you a good person?" he asked with a low and creepy tone. The man took a few seconds before replying, scratching the back of his head, unable to meet his gaze all of a sudden. Yeah, I guess so, yeah," he replied with complete nonchalance. William's fearful expression fades away all of a sudden. "Great! Here is your reward." He takes his hat and extends it forward before him, its interior facing the sky. Confused, the man steps forward and peeks inside the hat, having heard the sounds of something metallic gently hitting against its walls. Upon doing so, he saw a live grenade inside. "What?" But there was no chance to act. The explosive went off, his top hat gone, mutilating their bodies as their scent flying backwards, the grass around them disintegrating into ash. The man landed on the ground with a soft thud, his carbonized body instantly giving out, while William crashed against a tree, rustling its branches, mortally injured, but ultimately still alive. Gasping and moaning, he extended his hand, making a horizontal swipe with his palm open, from within appearing 5 white orbs that levitated before him, similar to gases. 3 looked normal, while 2 had silhouettes of something within. One is that of a knife, and the other, himself, in his costume. With his index finger, he touched the orb with the silhouette of himself within, all of them disappearing as a result. He then snaps his fingers, and in the blink of an eye, he's back to normal, his body and clothing completely restored, as if such an incident never took place against his integrity. He lets out a sigh and gets up, wiping dirt off of his clothes. "That was too reckless of me," he says with a hand covering his eyes. He walks up to the man's corpse and looks down on it. "You're no longer a burden for all of us. That is your reward. Be grateful." He smiled. He then turns around and makes his leave, content. Authorities wouldn't even arrive until much later. He may rest easy now. Probability has successfully been corrected. Unknown, Brooklyn, New York. 2 men dressed in casual clothes lie inside an elevator heading up. One of them is standing about, while the other is examining the contents of a duffel bag, kneeling on the floor. Wait, how the... Dude, we're missing $50. His body's acknowledgement was slightly stiff. What? He rummages through the bag, his hands shaking. Oh shit. Oh shit, yeah, it's not here. How the fuck did this happen, man? Wait, chill the fuck out, okay? It's only $50. He's not gonna be mad about $50, right? I mean, the rest is all there. You know how he is. What do you mean he's not gonna be mad? For the love of God, shut the fuck up. Just remain calm, okay? Be upfront and honest. Okay, he says, zipping the bag close and standing back up with it in hand. As they wait for the doors to open, anxiety begins to set in. Sweat dripped along their skin, one of them even chewing on his nails, adding into the monotonous hum of the elevator. Reaching the last floor, they finally swing open, revealing an average apartment setting, a single corridor to step onto, leading left and right. The interior is composed of light brown wooden planks, the walls warm white and smooth. No furniture to be seen, though, only occasional doors on each side. They go right, making their way through the long empty corridor, no one to be seen, eventually turning left and arriving at the door leading to the office. It's like witnessing a portal to a different world, worsening their stress. They knock 3 times on the door. That is, after hesitating for the first few seconds. A voice is heard from the other side, seemingly welcoming, although slightly dismissive. Yeah, come on in. They gently open the door, a somewhat large rectangular office coming into view. The interior is similar to the corridor, an elegant brown desk sitting at the end where the boss sits, a big window behind it, displaying the beautiful scenery of the city. A lot of paperwork, writing tools, and a laptop sit on top of the desk, along with a microphone. There isn't any more furniture of note lying around, aside from a bulletin board on the wall, all sorts of papers pinned to it, displaying various tasks such as needed assassinations. Under one of the people in question, there's a note saying, IDK, I just don't like him. Under another one, there's another note saying, he talked back to me. There's also another man sitting on a metal chair to their left, who appears to be taking a nap, unclear because of the shades he has on. He's wearing a black trench coat and trousers, and has spiky dark red hair. He seems to have noticed their presence, his head slightly tilting in their direction, immediately dismissing them. Hey, what brings you here? The boss asks nicely, sitting on his chair behind the desk, both legs lying on top of it. Your earnings. Oh, fuck me, that's right! He quickly sat properly, getting his legs off the desk. How could I forget? Get over here and show me. It was your first time too, wasn't it? Did you have fun? The man seems to radiate a positive and friendly energy. He has a brown mullet haircut with a nice thick mustache, a handsome face and a great physique. He's wearing a red jacket on top of a grey t-shirt and jeans. He's also smoking 5 cigarettes at once, sometimes juggling between each one, other times inhaling all 5 at once, then snatching them all in between his index and middle fingers. Yeah, it was actually pretty damn fun. You should have seen the look on David's face today. Good, very good. I bet it was hilarious. I love that son of a bitch. Real persistent, that one. So, 900k. That's our expectation for the month. Big fucking haul, ain't it? Come on, let me see it. They present the duffel bag on his desk and zip it open for him. He gives them a knowing look before unloading the money, counting it. Boss, we need to inform you that $50 are missing, but the rest is all there. His movement stops entirely upon hearing such words, his head slowly rising to look at them, the positive look on his face having faded away. What? How did that happen? His tone reeks of menace. Actually, we don't really know. It was there before, and like just now we opened it, and it like wasn't there. So you're telling me that $50 defied the rules of physics and found its way out of this closed bag? No, it didn't defy any rules of physics, I don't think. I don't know, maybe it just... He drops all cigarettes on his ashtray, gets up from his desk, and goes over to them, standing right in front of the two thugs, his fierce gaze darting back and forth between each of them. You don't know. That it? We don't know. The rage emanating from him is palpable, in contrast to the silence engulfing the room. But then, he flashed an unexpected smile all of a sudden. You know what? It's okay. His expression from 2 seconds ago says otherwise. Both of you are new around here, so I'm gonna go easy on you, he says almost forcibly with both of his hands sitting on each of their shoulders. Go easy, one of them asked with a fearful tone. Yes, he released his hands from their shoulders. And by that I mean, you get a pass this time. Now listen carefully. There's something very important you should know while working for me. You know what that is? No. His voice became quieter, almost whispering as he further closed the gap between them. Should you ever have bad news for me, keep it to yourselves. I want you to lie to save your skin. We don't need honesty and upfrontness around here. You can even try to kill me if it benefits you. Because you know what real strength is? Justified egocentrism. That's all I want to see from you. Got it? Yes, both of them reply, trying their best to remain calm. Of course. Should I find out that you lied? He smiles once again. You get a one-way ticket to Wonderland, he says before winking at them. It's very fun. Very fun. Lots of places to go. Lots of quirky people to meet. It's so fun, in fact, that you'll never be quite the same again. The man sitting on the chair to his right let out a very quiet hum of amusement. Okay. Anyways, it would be a shame if... Oh! He snatched a $50 bill from the pocket of one of them. Holy cannoli, how did that end up over there? He says sarcastically while examining the bill in an exaggerated manner. Wait, no, that's mine, I swear! He says in a panic to try and save his skin, but they both know it isn't true. His body merely backed away slightly, not daring to utter a word. Unless... You didn't tell me you can shit money? Oh, you greedy little bastard. You want it all to yourself, don't you? He said while playfully waving his finger at him. Taking his advice from earlier, the man retrieves a knife out of his other pocket and lunges at him with idiotic courage, no matter how small he felt. And yet, despite how surprisingly fast it was, the boss retaliated not by getting a hold of his wrist or dodging the attack, but by reaching towards his neck faster than he could ever hope to swing, $50 bill still in hand, putting a stop to it, the knife slipping out of his hand and onto the floor. Upon gripping it, a strange, colorful gas starts spurting out of his hand, seemingly through the skin itself, producing a jarring hissing noise. The man inevitably inhales the gas as he desperately tries to pry his hand away, his nostrils burning. It's not long for resistance to stop. The boss then shoved him away with a slight push as he released him, his body flopping onto the floor, convulsing violently as foam started to leave his mouth. The screams weren't any different, almost ear-piercing, audible many floors below. However, there wasn't just horror and dread conveyed by them. There seemed to be a fragment of enjoyment too, oddly enough, like a true masochist's dream. A man with a gothic appearance suddenly barged through the door, extremely bothered. The man in the trench coat, however, barely even reacted, despite having witnessed the whole ordeal. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up, man! What's going on here? Oh, great, okay. Yeah, nice one, Trevor. And here I was in a good mood for the day. Son of a bitch. All of that for $50. Was it worth it? It would have, had you done a better job. Ash, make him disappear. Phew, finally. It's been like 2 days. He states as he gets closer, crouching to get a hold of the body by its arms, dragging it towards the door. He then glanced at the surviving man, his terror evident in his body language. You. Yes? His tone remains firm, though. Help him. He orders while eyeing Ash dragging the body. Understood. As the two of them carry the body somewhere else, Trevor walks over to the massive window in his office, admiring the beautiful scenery of New York. He takes a deep breath, content. Still feels just as good as the first time. Scarsdale suburb, New York. Come on, we're almost there. A woman and a man are walking together on the street. She has very long black hair, brimming with youthful beauty, while wearing a short black skirt and a pink shirt. So I still remember what you promised? He asked, giving her a knowing look. Yeah, don't worry. You'll be a whole new man by the time I'm done with you. Literally. Emphasis on literally. Ah, that sounds nice. Some minutes later, she fumbles with the keys as they arrive at her door, quickly getting it open. She then guides him to her bedroom, who mindlessly follows along. Her bedroom is as ordinary as it can be, aside from a somewhat creepy side. Standing before her bed against the wall is a large wooden shelf, grimy with dust. On said shelf, numerous dolls are placed in carefully arranged lines. They look overly expressive, haunting looks plastered all over their faces, almost as if they're alive, yet their eyes sit still. Okay, so I'm gonna go ready myself, but before that we should get you ready first. I'm sure you know what I mean. Without a question, he immediately starts taking his clothes off one by one, thinking more with something else instead of his head. Cool, now lay down. He lays on his back in her bed, after which she reaches under it to grab 2 pairs of handcuffs, chaining his arms to the bed, rendering him incapable of moving. There, she says as she crawls off the bed. Now stay here. Well, it's not like you can go anywhere. I'll be right back. You know it, but please hurry up. You know I can't stand waiting. Too bad. You're gonna be a good boy and stay put for as long as I need, okay? Her voice drips with seduction. Right, sorry. Anything for you, baby. Good. She steps out of the room, walking in a manner similar to a child, leaving him entirely by himself. A few minutes pass by, the silence almost unbearable. He can't even faintly hear what she's doing in whatever room she's in. His eyes finally land on the shelf, having been somehow oblivious to it up until now, the excitement of the situation clouding his vision of everything around him. The fact that they seem to be looking straight at him on the bed doesn't help. Damn, is this chick crazy? He says quietly. No matter how scared of the dark I may be, I ain't having that shit in my room. At least the bed is comfortable, but that shelf, he wishes it wasn't there. They're just dolls. Why does he feel so exposed? No matter how much he tries, he can't feel alone in this room, a drop of sweat making itself clear. Even more time passes. No signs of her to be had. Something seems off, prompting her to call out to her. Hey, Alice, are you good? He screams. No response. Alice? I'm coming, just wait a moment. Oh, thank God. He sighs in relief. After what seemed like an eternity of fake solitude, he finally begins to hear her footsteps getting closer. Alice slowly comes into view at the door, albeit not dressed in what he was expecting. She's wearing a black robe that does a great job at hiding her whole body, aside from the legs. Its design evokes a connection to satanic rituals, not that of a normal everyday robe. Her face appears doll-like, skin made out of dark wool, buttons for eyes, little resemblance of a human left, only its shape. He's speechless, a frown frozen on his face as he struggles to believe his eyes. Is that some sort of mask? He asks, slightly unsettled, but taking it for such. Alice then fully steps into the doorway, holding a sewing kit in one hand, while in the other, a large pair of scissors. Whoa, what the fuck? Look, that's not what we promised, I'm not into that. Without uttering a word, she slowly makes her way towards him, her expression remaining the same, still, almost lifeless. What the fuck? Hey, back off! What is this? He wiggles his body around in a desperate attempt to free himself, the sound of chains rattling against the headboards filling the room, along with his pleas for help. He's already starting to picture what might happen to him, and also questioning why he trusted a stranger he met yesterday. This is called thinking with one's brain. It's gonna be fun, I promise, she giggles, winking at him. She goes over to a large speaker in a corner of her bedroom. After turning it on, a love song begins playing, at the maximum possible volume. He continues to cry out for help, begging her to not do this, but it was all for nothing. No matter what, his screams weren't high enough so as to not be masked by the music, kept safely contained within her home at worst, within her bedroom at best. Unfortunately, the act of begging wouldn't suffice. It made it worse, even. "You'll love it, baby," she says as she straddles him, even though he obviously couldn't hear it. She takes out dozens of needles out of the sewing kit that she placed down beside her, after which begins inserting them in his skin one by one, slowly but surely, each one going slightly deeper than the last. It is pure agony. He still tried to frantically wiggle about, yet her weight on top of him was enough to keep him still. His wrists even became bruised due to the extreme and prolonged movement against the chains, mixed with the unbearable pain of having needles puncturing all over his body. "Wow, look at you, so pretty," she said, a sentence that wouldn't find his ears. They riddled his arms, chest, and even head, carefully inserted so as to not pierce any vital organs. A sharp scream finds its way out of his mouth with each needle, his helplessness saddening, to say the least. Meanwhile, as all of this is happening, everyone is just casually going about their day outside. A simple house more than enough to hide the horrors that some hold close to them, their whole identity. She leans down and presses her lips against his face repeatedly, extremely turned on by the sight of him in this condition. This inevitably starts to rile him up, something absurd considering the gravity of the situation, yet here we are. She gets off of him and onto the side of the bed, getting hold of the scissors and proceeding to. The whole world around him disappears as his mind rises to insurmountable heights, a blood-gurgling scream so loud that the music alone didn't cut it, forcing Alice to cover his mouth, a sign of slight anxiousness evident on her face. The bed was now soaked in his own bodily fluids, some of it splattering on her. "Shh, it's almost over," she whispers close to him. Her face began to twitch, her mouth greatly expanding sideways, revealing 2 sets of razor teeth, the wool that makes up her skin further darkening as her own nails grow into long, sharp claws. She gripped his head, her mouth opening as she let out a bone-chilling screech, sucking up what seems to be his very soul, a purple gas coming out of his mouth, nose, and ears, into her own, eagerly swallowing all of it. His panicked movement finally came to an end, his body pale like snow. But it wasn't all. He began to shrink, his skin gaining a texture of wool, similar to her, eventually turning him into a tiny, genderless doll, his previous haunted expression replaced with a neutral one, all the needles remaining punctured in him. She casually watched the whole process while humming to herself, as one would watch their child playing about, her own body reverting back to that of a regular human, the way she presented herself before. Her button eyes were the last to revert, those innocent and pretty eyes returning as they observed the terrifying scene, her face retaining a smile. Walking over to the speaker, she turns it off, the music coming to an abrupt stop as silence fills the room once again. She picks up the new doll, twirling and dancing around with it, looking like a child with a new toy. "Oh my God, aren't you the sweetest thing ever? I'm gonna work hard on you, I promise, yes?" She started making her way towards the door, eyes glued to the doll. "Mine, mine, 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 mine! You'll meet your new family soon enough, okay? First we need to dress you up in some nice clothes, then give you a stylish haircut to impress the ladies, right?" She stopped abruptly, glancing up for a moment. "Wait, there are no ladies. But you can impress the bros. Eee! I'm so excited!" Before going, she briefly looks back at the bloodbath that became her bedroom, a certain body part perched on the edge of the bed. The snow-white sheets are drenched in heavy blood splatters, some of it having even spilled onto the floor. She sighs. "I'll leave that for later," she says in a dry manner, all the excitement contained in a bottle, before exploding once again moments later. And there she goes, off to work on her new masterpiece. Evil resides in everyone. The difference between good and bad people is how much they can suppress it. It's not natural. It's not meant to be. Yet here it is. And it will always be here, present in all shapes and sizes. Why? We don't know what it means to be evil, but we don't know what evil actually is. It certainly isn't something that can be defined by mere words. That's too bad, because the answer has already been lost to time. However, the visual representation of it persists to this day. It's up there, the one they think loves them, the one they think created them and everything around them. It doesn't love them. In fact, it loves the ones they think it condemns, such as these three. Either way, they remain catalysts of growth for Isaac. No matter their fate, they must be dealt with.